Right, well, welcome to the latest in our Move to Spain virtual roadshow webinar series. Today we're looking at property in the Marina, Alta, northern Costa Blanca area. The Costa Blanca north of Alicante up to Valencia has a very wide range of towns and resorts, and has long been popular as a region, and with British expats and indeed with expats from many other countries. We're currently seeing a large influx of Dutch, Belgians, Germans and Scandinavians. So it's popular with everybody, including a wide range of nationalities in the area. Marina Alta is the sort of core of this area, stretching from Calpe to Denia, including inland areas like the Halon Valley. And here our speaker, Joanna Alderton of Alderton Property Finders and Relocation Support Services, will explain the new attractions of this region and which are the most popular areas and why. So we'll go through what sort of properties are available, the current state of the market in the region. If you have any questions before we start, I would say please use the facility on your screen to pass them through. We'll answer all that we can during the course of the webinar, and any we miss, we'll follow up with it by email after the event. So, Joanna, welcome. Perhaps you could start off by telling us a bit about yourself, about Aldertons and the areas that you cover.
Yeah, thanks, Nigel. Hi, everybody. As Nigel says, my name is Jo. I am the owner of Aldertons of Spain. We are a relocations, property finding and immigration support agency based in the northern Costa Blanca, predominantly covering the Marina Alta and some of the Marina Baixa area of the northern Costa Blanca. That's the east coast of Spain. We have been set up for the last seven, eight years now in this region. And my background has been since 1995, I've been in Spain. So I've been here quite a while. I have lived all over the world, in Cuba, Mexico, Sri Lanka, Goa, lots of different areas. And all of the Spanish islands and the Costas as well. I was originally started off as a little holiday rep and worked for lots of different tour operators throughout my time overseas. So I'm very, very accustomed to setting up and starting life in different locations. And that's what spearheaded the start of my company and assisting people to move overseas and set up home. My background in the UK was in commercial property. So I combined both of my skills and talents, and that's what set up the Aldertons brand. We've now assisted over 2,000 people to move to Spain, and we're now qualified immigration advisors. We've done all of our qualifications in Spain in non-lucrative golden visas, autonomo visas, etc., etc. So yeah, we're perfectly placed to help you move over here, or indeed look after your holiday homes and buy your property with you over here for if that's what you're looking at as investment. So yeah, this is who we are, and it's what we do.
Okay, thanks, Joanne. I should also mention that I have some bias on this area as well, because I live in Javier myself. And I moved here 2.5 years ago, having spent my life working in the UK and in Hong Kong, California, Malaysia. So I too have moved around, but not perhaps as much within Spain as Joanne, and certainly not for as long. So anyway, perhaps, Joanne, we could start off by just talking about this whole region and the attractions. Why is it so popular, and what do you love about it? Because I know you do.
I do. I just think this area. I talk about this area. I get this. It gives me a smile. As I said, I've been in Spain since 1995. I know I don't look old enough, but it's one of those places I feel very qualified to be able to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of Spain, because I have lived through it all. And one of the reasons that attracted me to this area, for the place to lay my hat, so to speak, and to bring and raise my family, is that the infrastructure of this area is second to none. Having lived on all the islands and having lived on different areas of the costas of Spain, including some of the cities as well, I found this area to be the one with the healthcare, the facilities, that if something does go wrong, there's a network of people that you can rely on. Just the things underneath the glitz and the glamour or the beauty of the area, just the infrastructure underneath that base level is just second to none, and it's there, it really does help you. But apart from all that, it's the absolute beauty of this area, the beaches, the coves, the caves, the callers, the restaurants, the scenery, and then the climate. It just is outstanding. So yeah, it's just gorgeous. And then on top of that, we have sort of houses and apartments and the lifestyle. It's Mediterranean lifestyle, so really, what's not to love? It really just does have everything. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's just perfect.
Okay, now, many people will have sort of come here for their holidays and so on, but if you're considering moving and living in Spain, clearly it's all year and it's about being out of season as well as in season. So perhaps could you tell us what the area is like out of season, and are there some areas that are busier than others?
Yeah, anywhere you go along the coast of Spain, I mean, from north to south, from east to west, it's always going to be busy in the summer. So one of the things that I always say to people is you should always come out of season to see what real life is like. Because when you're moving to Spain, specifically when you're moving to Spain, if you're packing up and thinking of spending a big chunk of your year in Spain, then you need to see it outside of the crazy season, outside of the holiday season, because that's when that's what real life is. So yeah, you're always going to get some areas that are going to be quieter. So we have Denia, for example, which is the capital of the Marina Alta region. So lots of administrative facilities take place there. So it's not quite a city. It is a city, but not quite a city as we would expect it to be, busy. But it is busy for the Marina Alta, but then on the outskirts of Denia, the further away you get out, kilometre 3, kilometre 5, kilometre 7, it gets quieter and quieter in the shoulder months of the years. So there's places like that you need to be aware of. Then, we can go to Benidorm, for example, which is the Marina Baixa. Everybody's heard of Benidorm. And for some people, Costa Blanca North, when you look on paper, they think that is just Costa Blanca North, and it is so far removed from Costa Blanca North. Benidorm all year round is busy in one corner of it, but there's other areas of Benidorm that can be quite quiet. So there's swings and roundabouts in all of these areas, and it really is about getting out and discovering these areas to find out. That's where someone like me comes in, because I can talk to you about the little nuances of each and every town that's out there.
Yes, I mean, my own experience in Javier is that Javier, is fairly busy all the way year round. I remember just before COVID arrived, when we had the half-term visitors in October, and I thought, well, that's the end of the tourist season. The following weekend, I couldn't find a parking space in the Arenal area. It's very difficult. But what we do find, I guess, is that restaurants tend to go on holiday one at a time, so a few of them close, but there's still masses of choice.
And this is the thing is you need to take off the blinkers of it being around a specific tourist season, because when you're thinking of it from your front rooms in the UK, for example, and you're thinking of holiday season, it isn't just about what you would perceive as a holiday season, because there are so many different types of tourism over here. So there's gastronomy tourism these days. One of the biggest types of tourism at the moment, especially in this region, is cycling tourism. We have the Vuelta, which is like the Tour de France, but the Spanish version. That comes through here. So this is a massive training ground for all the professional teams. And on the back of that, there's a huge cycling and outdoor pursuits tourism based around that. So there's a huge all year round industry for tourism, which makes it a massive area for investment in all year round tourism for outdoor pursuits. There's, like I say, gastronomy. There's lots of weekend tourism, not just from British or Northern Europeans, but the Spanish tourism, and lots of French people that come down the motorways just in their cars, just coming for weekend breaks and things. So there's lots of different tourism in here, in this area, that just keeps everything going all year round. And then you have the winter tourism from the Spanish OAPs. So the Spanish government actually gives OAPs sort of 1 week, 5 days, and 2 week holidays as part of their pensions, and puts them up in hotels for and that keeps the tourism industry going in hotels over here as well. So it really is it's an all year round thing going on here. So yeah, there's a good amount of life going on here, and it's funny because there's rivalry between the towns as well. So in our area here, some of the areas that you may have heard of, Javier, Denia, Marira, Calpe, people in Javier will always say, oh, don't go to Marira, it's dead in the winter. I challenge you to come to Marira and have a look at what people perceive as dead in the winter, because it absolutely is not dead in the winter. So it's really quite funny how you hear all these wild rumours. And that's, again, where we come in to show you what is dead and what isn't dead. And I'd say take a walk around my high street from where I grew up in the UK, and that's probably dead in the winter. So it's
Certainly,
relative.
certainly in January.
Exactly.
Okay, so perhaps we could sort of go through some of those areas and explain, what's the attraction of them, what sort of, properties people can expect, and maybe a hint of which are the more expensive areas, which areas might be, a little bit more with, a Spanish feel rather than expat and so on. And perhaps we could start with Denia.
Yeah. So as I briefly mentioned earlier, Denia is the administrative capital of the Marina Alta. So this is where you will find the largest town halls. It's where the largest fiestas are. It's where you would go for the foreigners office. For this region, you get your NIE, etc., which you'll probably have heard of. You get the TIE card, etc. Because it's the administrative capital, this is where you'll find lots of apartments and townhouses. It's quite a busy town. There's a busy market town. It's got the hospital there, which services this area as well. It's a brand new, it's a relatively new hospital, very well looked after, and it's a very good hospital as well, which is, again, one of the reasons why I prefer the Marina Alta to the Marina Baixa. I think it's got a better infrastructure with regards to the healthcare. Denia is a great busy town. It's got a fantastic shopping scene and an amazing tapas scene as well. It's also got one of the largest recreational ports in the world, which is something that quite often is overlooked. So if being out on the Mediterranean Sea is your thing, then this is a town that you really need to investigate and get to know. The beauty of the Marina Alta is that it's like a diamond. So everything within this region is within a half an hour drive, no matter where you go. Even if you are going that's something that's perceived as being inland, everything is within a half an hour drive. So you can get to Denia or you can get to Calpe really, really easily. And the road network is really, really easy to traverse. So that massive marina and that massive port is great. Denia also has the industrial port as well. So if you are wanting to get over to Ibiza or Formentera or Mallorca, then the ferries go from Denia. So this is a really good selling point as well. And it's the start of the sweeping long sandy beaches. So you can walk for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. There's sand dunes and it's just gorgeous. So yeah, Denia's really, really good. Moving on from Denia, at the back of Denia, so we move out from all the apartments, because in the city centre you tend to get the apartments. Then we move out slightly from the city centre and you'll get more townhouses and some villas. One of the problems with Denia and the villas is that we have a huge imposing mountain at the back of Denia called the Montgo. It's very famous. It's everything in this area is denoted by its mountains, because the Marina Alta is sheltered by a mountain range, and all the mountains have names, and we have the Montgo, which is very emblematic, and that's what protects us and gives us our fantastic climate in this area. The Montgo sits to one side of Denia and it separates Denia from Javier. And unfortunately, most of the villas are on one side of the Montgo for Denia, but it happens to be on the wrong side for the sunshine. So it's not the best place to live on that side of the Montgo mountain if you want the sunshine all year round. Great place if you are an investor and you're looking for just a holiday apartment or a holiday villa, because you do get the sun in the summer, but if it's an all year round thing, then it does tend to get damp in the winter and you're not getting the sun all year round. So there's little tips like that to think about when you are looking at long term moving over here as well. So yeah, Denya's pretty cool place actually, but there's other places if you're going to live all year round, maybe not be the right place for you, but there's things to investigate.
Right. And the sort of prices in the area, are they higher, lower, or what sort of range?
Depends which area of Denia we're looking at. So we can look at apartments where we can go for 50, 60,000, and then we can go up to villas which are 5 million. So it really does encompass everything in Denia. Denia is a hotbed of activity, and it's a very popular location with all nationalities and especially with the Spanish as well. So we do have Madrileños, people, from Barcelona. They will all have holiday apartments, holiday penthouses, and expensive villas in the Denia region as well. So, yeah.
Okay. So perhaps we could move down the coast now and talk about Javier.
See, now when we say Javier, did you see everybody? Did you see Nigel's face? Because he gets the smile on his face when you talk about Javier. That's where Nigel lives. So Javier is, historically, has always been known as one of the most expensive places to live on the Costas. Price per square meter has always been extremely high. It has this last year just been knocked off its pedestal by Marina. Okay, so it's still a very expensive place to be. It's a great place to be. It's historically villa country. It's split predominantly into 3 areas, which are the Old Town, which has got lots of charm, a couple of kilometres inland from the main coast. It has a port area, which is fascinating, the port area, because that has a little Old Town shopping area attached to it as well, and is still a working port. And even though developers year in, year out offer millions and millions of euros to the Confederation of the Porteros, the fishermen who manage the port, to buy the port out in order for redevelopment, they steadfastly refuse to sell it, which is great. Because it maintains its charm and is lovely. So that's the port area, and then you have the Arenal area, which is more like a holiday resort, and few apartment complexes. In fact, quite a few still being built along that area as well. They're going up and up in price. So the apartments in that area are going back for around 400,000 now, 350 to 400,000 for a 2-bed. So it's becoming a very expensive area to purchase in around there. The villas tend to be slightly back, going up the Montgo on one side and the Cumbre del Sol on the other side. And they are in the region of 500 to a couple of million, upwards towards 3 to 4 million now. The higher up you go with the bigger views, if you're on the cliff edge with direct access to the sea, then you could be going towards 5 million in that area as well. So there's some big price tags going there as well. Reasonable pricing around the 5 to 600,000 now for Javier is probably what you're looking at. For striking distance into Javier, and things are flying. It's definitely a seller's market at the moment in this area. We do a lot of property finding for Javier, and we do most of our property finding now in the Javier area via camera, with the clients sat in the front room like I am at the moment, looking down a lens and making the offers whilst they're sat in their front rooms, because you have to be on the ground in order to get it. When something comes on, you have to put the deposit down. It's getting crazy, and we've never seen a market like this since I've been doing this job. It's just gone a bit bonkers recently. But Javier's beautiful.
Yeah, wouldn't disagree.
I knew you wouldn't.
Yes, I think there are places, a little cheaper and so on, and every now and again you sort of see something in the Old Town which is a ridiculously large number of rooms at a ridiculously low price or whatever, which basically probably needs to be significantly renovated.
That's the thing. And the Old Town, the stock is a lot older. The Old Town, or in the ports, the stock is a lot older, and that tends to be yeah, a lot more renovation work. And if it's in the ports, it tends to be either without a lift if it's an apartment block and things like that. So then the prices are down. You can get grants these days, and you speak to the owners. The owners of the building, not the owners, the owners association of all the apartments of the building, to see if everyone will give up a bit of their apartment in order to put a lift shaft in. And that does work. You can get grants from the town halls in order to do that. So a lot of the older apartment blocks are doing that. So yeah, there's lots of ways of bringing the older properties up to modern day standards. So there is lots of renovation going on like that as well. And it is worthwhile sometimes investing in the older properties if you know that that's something that's being tabled within the community at the time, because that can significantly pump the price of a property up once the lift goes in.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's always tricks out there. It's just having your ear to the ground, and that's something that we help with as well when we're looking at
Yeah, it's probably also worth saying that, you know, whilst Benidorm has the very high-rise apartment blocks, you know, Javier and the Marina Alta has a strict height limit, which makes for a much more charming coastline and slightly lower
This
requirements.
this is the thing. Apart from Calpe, which does have the high rises as well, all of them along our coastline, and Denia has a couple of higher floors. All of them along our coastline are, most of it's 4 floors maximum. And they all have very strict buildings. So land in the Marina Alta is much more expensive than any of the other areas. And the planning is much stricter. So we don't get the huge urbanizations that you get in other areas of Spain. So in other areas of Spain, where you stand on your balcony or your terrace and everything is the same, the streets are all the same and everything's the same, you look and it's all chocolate box, chocolate box, chocolate box. You don't get that. Everything's very unique in this area. It's all very individual and it has a complete charm about it. When I do lots of orientations or discovery tours for our clients, so I convince them and say, come and spend the day with me. You've never even thought about this area. Come and spend the day and I'll show you, take you through the tunnels, we call it, from Marina Baixa to the Marina Alta. Just come and venture through, and they come through and it opens up and it's very green, our area. And it's like, no, here you come. And people can't believe the difference. And once they've come and experienced it, they don't want to go back. They'll say, no, find me something up here, Joe. That's fine. We want to stay here. So, and we just get smug face, we call it, because we're like, we knew you'd like it.
Okay, let's move on then to Marira, further on the coast.
Marira is commonly referred to as the oyster or the pearl of the Costa Blanca North. It's a little hidden gem. People feel like they have to discover it, or that they feel like they've discovered it. Sorry, they once they get there, like I say, it's a little hidden gem. You have to just come and discover it, basically. So it's a very pretty little town. It's very well looked after. A couple of beautiful little beaches. Little cobbledy streets with shopping, with some little boutiques in it. And when I say boutiques, they're not expensive boutiques or anything like that. It doesn't have the pretension of Marbella or anything like that. It's just a very nice, easygoing, relaxed little port town. It has a beautiful little marina. It has lots and lots of restaurants and bars. It has lots and lots of great music scene, a great social scene, a live music scene going on all the time, all the way throughout the year. And then Marira, it does have a heart. It has a few apartment buildings in the centre, again with the 4-floor maximum. But it's not very big in the centre. But Marira really is villa country. It's very flat in the centre, and then it's surrounded by the hills. So you do really need a car if you're going to be out and about. In most of the towns in Marina Alta, you're going to need a car. And then it's surrounded by the hills, and the hills are villa country. It's very difficult to buy a house around and about in the Marina Alta, any of the towns, without a view. Most of the houses in our area do have a view. And yeah, you just dip in and out of Marina at leisure. But Marina really is a beautiful little town. It's one of these places that we always make sure we bring people to because it's a gorgeous little place.
Yeah, and then moving down the coast, there's Calpe.
Well, you've just
There's
missed out.
one or two in between that I was just about to say.
Yeah,
Beneath Costa and so on.
absolutely. So you missed out there, Benissa Costa, which is where I live, right behind me. So yeah, between Marina and Calpe, you've got Benissa Coast, and Benissa Coast is well, it's got the largest landmass. Small town, 10,000 inhabitants. But largest landmass, or one of the largest landmasses in the whole of the Valencian community. So it's made up of mountains and coast. There's about 7 bays all the way along the coast road between Marina and Calpe. They have a free bus service that runs between the coast and all the bays and takes you up to the old town as well. It's just a pleasure. It has one of the most magnificent eco paths, which is a coastal path. So for those of you that like getting out and about and keeping fit and just being outdoors all year round, then Benissa and Benissa Coast and Marina and Calpe really are the places to get out and really discover. It's just breathtaking. There's chiringuitos, they're called, which are little outdoor bars on the beaches and the calas, the coves, and they're on all of these little bays. Yeah, so you just literally pack your bag or whatever, your little rucksack, and off you go on this coastal path and just have a little canya, which is a little half lager or a little shandy or whatever you want at each of these bays, and just while the day away. Take your dog, whatever it is, and you will just have the time of your life, and you will never get bored of that view or that walk. It is just spectacular. So walk from Marina to Calpe, you can do that walk, and there's no end of bars, restaurants and places to visit as you're wandering along that coastal path. It really is spectacular. So it's villa country the entire way. So if it's villas with pools, villas without pools, or small communities of 8 to 10 townhouses with a shared pool, this is the area that you're looking for. If you're looking for conformity and all the houses to be the same, this is not the area. But if you're looking for individuality, this is definitely the area that you need to be looking at.
Right. Okay. And so I'll force you off now into Calpe.
Calpe. So Calpe is we call Calpe a grower because personally I adore Calpe. Calpe has this reputation as with the Brits. When they first arrive here, they go, "Oh no, I don't like Calpe," and I think it's because it's the high rises that are there. They say, "Oh, it's too like Benidorm," and in actual fact, it's very, very different to Benidorm. Calpe has got 2 of the most spectacular beaches along the whole of the Costa Blanca coastline. Absolutely stunning, and it's also shadowed by what's known as the Ifat rock. It's a very emblematic rock, which is it's the smallest national park in Spain. And it's a very, very high, very steep rock that looks like it's stuck out in the middle of the sea. You can climb up it, which I did one day, it nearly killed me. Which, yeah, if you ever go on my Facebook page, you'll see that as a video. It's very funny. So you can climb to the top of that, and it's very interesting. Calpe has, again, one of the most magnificent marinas where you can learn to sail. I did my own boat license there. It's only €150, a couple of half a day course, and then you can drive your own boat. Hire a boat for €150 for half a day as well, and go out and for a kilometre away from the coast. It's a great way of getting out and about and getting out. Calpe has great fish restaurants. We are in the Valencian community, the home of the paella. So you really do need to get out there and appreciate that and enjoy this. Calpe again has great shopping. It's the stock of properties here. If you want a great priced apartment with sea view, this is the place for you to come to. Again, quite flat, great shopping, great bars and restaurants, everything on the doorstep. It's an amazing place to be, and busy all year round as well. Certainly not Benidorm, but with everything, all the facilities for you to deal with and get there, it's absolutely superb. So yeah, Calpe is definitely a grower. It's one of those places that on site, British people for some reason tend to steer away from it. But in reality, once you're over here, you tend to start gravitating towards it. So go with an open mind to Calpe, because it really is a great place to be.
Okay, thanks. And then I guess there's Altea.
Yeah, everybody loves Altea. There's nothing not to like about Altea. Altea is famous. If you've ever seen pictures of the Costa Blanca North, then it's probably, if it's not Benidorm, it's probably of Altea. The whitewashed streets, the blue dome church, the little cobbledy streets with the restaurants on the cobbledy street. It just looks like a little bit of Greece, really, in Spain. And that's Altea. The church overlooking the Mediterranean Sea, it's just stunning. Altea has had a multi-million-pound refurbishment along its seafront. You can walk all the way from Altea to Albir. It's a flat seafront promenade. It is just spectacular. Again, oodles of bars and restaurants to wander through. I mean, there are more bars and restaurants in our region here for you could 5 lifetimes over and you still wouldn't be visiting the same one. So there's nothing to stop you from going out every night of your lifetime. Altea is known for its artists. So if you are of that ilk, and you're drawn to artists, and that's what you want to do, then that is the area for you to go to and be with like-minded people. It really is just a fantastic place to be. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. Altea Old Town is apartments and townhouses, and if you want to be in the Spanish lifestyle, then that's definitely that. Altea Seafront is apartments again, and then we have Altea Hills, which is townhouses and villas, quite luxury. It's not somewhere that I tend to really try. I try to steer people away from Altea Hills a little bit. I personally think it's overpriced. I think there is some road noise from the motorway there, so I don't think it's the best investment for you. I do think there's better properties out there with better views in better locations. There is also at the foot of Altea Hills a great little marina called Mascarat, which I then think is great. Don't have the motorway noise. Much better if you're into the marina lifestyle, and yeah, I think that's a much better investment than Altea Hills. So yeah, Altea is fantastic. The only downside to Altea for me is it's not Marina Alta; it falls into Marina Baixa. So, but that's a chat we can have over a glass of cava.
Right. Okay, so then I guess the other area is the inland area, yeah. And there's the Halon Valley and other areas inland. Yeah. Perhaps. Yeah. How popular is that? And
it's massively popular, massively popular. So the Halon Valley is 10 minutes from the coast, really, 10, 15 minutes max from the coast. And the Halon Valley is famous for its wine production. So that brings a huge smile to my face. It's great for gastronomy. So there's a real culinary battle going on in the Halon and Orba valleys, which is the next valley to it. There are some amazing restaurants around there. They're just wonderful. Valley does what it says on the tin. It's a flat valley right the way throughout. So for those of you that like the walking, like being sporty and want to get out, but the knees are going a little bit or the hips are going these days, then that's the area to look at, because you can still get out and about and cycle or walk in, and it's just so beautiful. The scenery is gorgeous, but it's very, very flat for you to be able to get out and about in. There are some fantastic villages: Halon, Parsen, Alcalali, Benny Chembla. At the moment, I don't know if you've seen on the news or our weather forecast, but we've had 10 days of solid rain. It's just been hideous here, very unlike what we're used to. But that means that all our rivers, which we never normally see water in, have all got beautiful water running through them at the moment. So the sun's just starting to come out. You can see in the background. And if we go into the valley today, it is spectacular, because all the rock beds are white. So the beautiful clear water is running through them. And it's just, it's breathtaking. So the valley is full of, as I say, the vineyards. It's also full of the almonds and the orange groves. So we have blossom at all times of year there, especially when it's the almond blossom and the cherry blossom, which is a little bit further inland in Val de Gallinera. When those blossoms are blooming, my God, it is just out of this world. And as I said earlier, everything is within a half an hour striking distance, no, because we're in this diamond shape. So wherever we are, whether we're on the coast or whether, especially if you're central, if you're in Benissa, which is I call it the gateway to the northern Costa Blanca, if you place yourself in Benissa, you're 15 minutes to everywhere, everything. And that is just spectacular because you can wake up one day and just go, today we're going to go wine tasting. Tomorrow we're going to go on the Cove. The day after we're going to go on the ferry to Ibiza. It is just fantastic. So we have everything on our doorstep. But yeah, Halon Valley, Orba Valley, breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking.
Okay, so moving out of the Marina Alta, perhaps we could just quickly cover Benidorm as an area, because people will be very familiar, as you said earlier, with it as a tourist place. But what about as a place to live?
Yeah, I mean, I did actually used to live just outside of Benidorm in a fantastic little village called Finistrat. So Finistrat is up on a mountain and it has a beach area as well, which tends to happen along this coastline. There's an inland and a beach area. I ran a company that was based in Benidorm, so I have personal experience of that. Benidorm's quite a hard place to live in. It can chew you up and it can spit you out if you're not very careful. It's a great place to go on holiday, and I love it for where I live at the moment because it is 25 minutes down the road. And it is one of the best places on earth to go and visit and people watch. It really is a fantastic place. You will never have a bad time sat outside a bar on that main Mediterranean walkway watching people as they wander past, because it's the best free entertainment you'll ever see in the world. To live in Benidorm can be quite interesting, to say the least, because it is a tourist town. So it's definitely, there's a lot of tourism going on all the time, which brings its own interesting spectrums with it. If you live on the outskirts of Benidorm, that's completely different because you can dip in and you can dip out of it. There are areas of Benidorm, the Poniente end, for example, which has had multi-million-pound investment going into it, some huge apartment complexes going up. And many people may have seen, I refer to it as the pants. It looks like a pair of trousers with a V in the middle of it. That's now available for purchase. And there's a lot of investors buying in Benidorm at the moment. I think Benidorm is if you're in the Poniente end, a lovely area. If you're going to purchase down there, if you're in the Levante end, that's not probably the best area to be buying in because it's a little bit frenetic. That's probably an investor area to rent out for holidays.
Yeah, otherwise nightly parties and the way to keep you.
Yes, yeah, it will chew you up and it will spit you out. It takes no purpose.
Okay, so if you are looking for an area that's sort of not too dominated by British tourists, perhaps, what are the main areas you would recommend? I know we've been through it, but just highlight a few.
Yeah. It's all relevant. It's all relative to what you want. I have always said, and I always will remain impartial. For me, it's the Marina Alta, full stop. You can never, ever make a bad choice in the Marina Alta. It has been so carefully protected with regards to its planning laws that it really has maintained its price per square metre. So, as I mentioned earlier, Javier has always been number one in the Valencian community with the price per square metre, which has been great. It has just been knocked off its pedestal last year. And these are the figures according to Idealista, which is the biggest portal in Spain. It's like Rightmove, but for Spain. It was knocked off its pedestal recently by Marina. And for the first time ever, Benissa has gone into the top three. So it's now Marina, Javier, Benissa, and it used to be Denia. So Benissa's come from sort of ninth straight into the top three. So that just shows you how popular Benissa is becoming because of its location. And there's lots of investment going on in Benissa with ring roads and things like that. So the market is changing here, and there's investment going on in this area and infrastructure changes going on. But as a whole, the Marina Alta is a real, very safe place to buy. Anywhere along the coast, the Benissa Costa from Marira to Calpe, and then from Javier and Denia, just on the other side of the Mont Go, you're never going to go wrong on there. And for me, Marina Alta as opposed to Marina Baixa is a safer bet.
Okay, and so if you're looking for something at a sort of lower cost, is it a matter of going inland, or are there cheaper areas?
There are slightly different prices if you go. We have the main road that runs through the Marina Alta, so it's called the N332, which is the National Road 332, and that on one side of the N332 is the coast, loosely speaking, and the other side is inland. So we have Benissa Costa on one side and Benissa Town on the other, Halon Valley and Orba Valleys on one side, and then Denia, Javier, Marira, Benissa Costa, Calpe on the other side. So so Halon Valley and Orba Valley and Benissa Town would tend to be slightly cheaper, not by huge amounts these days, but would tend to be slightly cheaper than the coastal towns. So if you want to have a slight saving, then yes, probably you'll be better off going inland. But also you cut your cloth accordingly. So if you do fall in love with this region, then, like I say, cut your cloth accordingly. So we'd go for a townhouse as opposed to a villa with a pool, or we would go for an apartment and make it a penthouse rather than going for a villa with a pool. It's amazing how many of my clients, when I start talking to them, and I meet many of my clients like we do now online on Zooms. And first off, it's no, I'm not even considering an apartment. I don't want that. And then once people come over and we take them out and we start showing people different types of properties, I get keys from many different agents, just to show different types of properties. And once we walk through the doors of things, it's amazing how many people will change their mind and go, oh my God, this is amazing. And end up actually buying an apartment. And I'll see them 3 years later and they'll be like, I can't believe we're in that part. I can't believe we're in an apartment. I never thought it. And they're happy as Larry. So it's all about being open to experiences.
Right. So if you're beginning your search for a property, and obviously people can look at the portals, Idealist, Quiero, Think Spain, Rightmove, and so on,
yeah.
And just to get a flavour for the market. But as we know, quite often properties on there have actually disappeared because they're owned by multiple agents and they don't people on there. But how should people approach? How would you recommend that people make sure they get, if you like, the right property, right location at the right price, which I guess is everybody's ultimate aim?
Yeah. I mean, it changes all the time, obviously. So if we were having this conversation 6 months, a year ago, it would be very different to what we're having now, because 6 months to a year ago, it was a buyer's market and it has changed massively. It's now very much a seller's market. The first thing that you need to do is investigate the area. I have been saying that for years and years and years. It does come down to location, location, location. What most people tend to do is look at the portals. They look online, they look at the properties, they look at the price, and they say, oh, well, I think my budget's this, so it looks like it's 150,000 or 250,000 or 350,000, whatever it is. And I can get more for my money there, so I'm going to start looking in Torrevieja, or I'm going to start looking in, I don't know, Murcia or whatever it is. And then they just start concentrating on that, or they look at a place in the sun, for example, and it's all about that. And that's wrong. That's not what you should be doing. What you should be doing is looking what you want from your lifestyle in Spain. Then you look at how these different areas would fit your lifestyle. The actual property is secondary or tertiary, because it's all about you and how you will fit into the area. What does the area offer you? And then you cut your cloth accordingly, because buying a nice shiny house in the wrong area is the biggest mistake. And I see people doing that time and time and time again. It was entirely the reason why we set up doing what we do, to stop people making those mistakes. I see people buying on complexes all the time. And when they're trying to move out and set life up over here, and it turns out it's a blooming tourist complex, and you are surrounded by tourists for 4 or 5 months of the year, I mean, that's a nightmare. Tourists are lovely, don't get me wrong, but when it's year in, year out, it will just become, it will wear you down, and they will end up moving, and they will end up selling that property very, very quickly. So, or they'll end up turning to the drink because they'll turn into forever tourists themselves, and that's not how they envisage their life being. So, it's about working and being honest about what you want from your life. It's a lifestyle rather than a property move. That's what you need to always keep that in mind at all times.
Right. And I mean, we rent here rather than having bought, but we have looked at buying at different times. And there's estate agents over here work slightly differently than they do in the UK. Yeah. And you are a property finder, or are you working on behalf of the buyer rather than the seller? So how do you work with people?
Yeah, we've always done the property finding side as opposed to the property selling side. But I'm not interested in selling property. For us, it's about relocation or property finding. So doing it right. Like I say, most of my clients will meet like this first, or we'll meet at one of the many property shows that we do in the UK. So we'll meet face to face. We do a lot of in-depth getting to know you to find out how, like I've just said there, how you envisage your life being in Spain. So whether it's a holiday home, an investment, or a full-on relocation. Will you need to work? Are the children involved? Is there animals involved? What's your health like? It's very intimate, we need to know the ins and outs, basically, because based around that, we can then come up with decent ideas of places that would work for you. And then once we've come up with those ideas, we'll then arrange for you to come on over, and we'll take you out, and we'll show you around the different areas, explaining why this town would work for you, the bus services, the societies and the groups in that area that would work for you, the weather, the climate, the doctor's services that are here, how often the hospital services that are there, even things down to such things like how often there's my dog, sorry, it's a dog today. So the ambulance services. So if we have lots of clients that do think sometimes about going inland, and sometimes the ambulance services don't cover inland. So we have to look at different options as to how in the case of an emergency, how would you get to the hospital? We cover everything like that. We also look at if it's going to be for a holiday rental. You're buying something that you want to invest in to rent out. We'll look at the classification of the land that you're buying the property on. Would you be able to get a tourist license on that property? These are all things that estate agents will just go, oh yeah, that's no problem. Where in reality, actually, it could be a problem. So we'll go to the town hall and we'll get the certificate or the compatibility certificate to make sure that you can. These are things that it has to be done because you're making a huge decision. So we hold your hand right the way through.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And we have one question here. This person says they're working from home and they work a lot on the internet. What's the internet coverage like, and does it vary from one town to another?
Yeah, it can do. So all along the Costas here, there's fibre been installed. I know you seem to have an issue where you are at the moment, don't you? I said I'm going to get on your case on this one, Nigel, because I don't think you should have. So I'm going to look at this one for you. In the Costas, I'm on fibre where I am. I live quite rural. I have download speeds of 400. My download speeds of 500 and something, and my upload speeds are 400 and something. Telefonica are the main owner of all the lines in Spain, and they have a goal or a target that by 2025, the whole of Spain will be covered with super fast fibre. We have, for every client that we've relocated out here, we've done a full investigation into all of the houses that they've bought, and every single one of them has got super fast fibre. And if it hasn't got fibre, they have satellite installed, some with backup satellite installed in case the first one goes down. We haven't got any house in any of this region, which is why I'm going to do the study for Nigel, that has any problems with internet. So yeah, it's absolutely fine. And that's including, we do have one that's right on the top of the mountain and the outskirts of Benissa. So yeah, Nigel lives in the centre of Javier, so I'm definitely going to look into why he's problem.
Just to give people some background, I spent some time living in an area called La Plana, which is up on the promontory that goes out San Antonio, Cap San Antonio, and there was virtually no internet there, but I could get it via the sort of satellite thing, and there was also no mobile phone signal. So I moved down to town, and where I am now, it's just ADSL, not fiber as yet, but you can get the satellite. But I've actually been using a 4G router, which I find works very well. But I only get about 40 megabits a second. So that's it serves its purpose, but it could certainly be better. And down here in town, where I am now in the office, I get 300 to 400.
Right. Okay. So you are in. Right. Okay.
With the office, I get it, but at home, it's much less. So it does vary. And my talking to various people, I would say that sometimes one side of the street has it and the other side of the street doesn't. But it is getting much better. The vast majority of places, as you say, have it. There's just the odd pocket here and there. But there's normally a solution, one way or another. You can get it the internet.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, so thank you for that question. Okay. Well, I think we'll call an end to it there, Joanne. Thank you very much. Just to finish off by saying thank you to everybody for listening. If we're here, as I say, to sort of help you, as Joanne obviously as well. And if you have any questions or you want a referral to either Joanne or to any other of our network of service providers, then just contact us at expats@expatnetwork.com. I will also mention, for those of you who are ready to make the move, we're doing a series of discovery tours. Those are basically using people like Joanne who will help you to look. And as Joanne says, it's initially about getting to know the area, getting to understand the lifestyle. It's not specifically about the property. And what we would do is have a tailored tour, which would be arranged in advance. You talk to Joanne and her team, and she would explain or find out from you what you want, and then take you around the place. If you then choose to use Joanne, that's great. Obviously, that's what she hopes to happen, but there's no obligation. And so what they will do is do it. If they do help you buy the property, then all the terms for that will be agreed up front. So if you want to find out more about the discovery tours, you can find it on our site, expatnetwork.com, under events, and you'll see a link there. So thank you very much, and thank you, Joanne.
Welcome.
Cheers.
Fabulous. Bye-bye.
Well done. Bye.
Bye.